doing today? Good morning still. Y'all see I have Jax here with me. Today I want to talk to you all about something that a lot of people quietly struggle with, and that is overthinking communication. Not going to be with you all long. If this is your first time with me, my name is Angel Charmaine Wright. I am a communication coach. I'm also the owner of SpeakUpSis LLC, which is a communication company where I help people and organizations to communicate more responsibly and more honestly. I come here, I try to be here on Wednesdays about 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time for about a good 30 minutes or so, just to share some insights about communication. Feel free to drop your comments in the chat. If you have questions, I don't mind answering them. I do respond to your comments if there's something for me to respond about. If you're watching this on the Speak Up Sis YouTube channel, hello, please make sure that you subscribe and click the notification bell to be notified when there's new content on the channel. If you are watching this on the Angel Wright Facebook page, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Make sure that you are following the Angel Wright Facebook page as well. I do share shorts that will give you really quick communication insights. And then I do this long form content on Wednesdays. If you are interested in connecting with me, feel free to visit angelcharmaine.com and you can connect with me and learn more about me and my work on that website. Okay. All right. Listen, he is all in my face today. So again, today I want to talk about something that a lot of people really struggle with, and that is overthinking communication, and not overthinking everything, right? It's just kind of overthinking life in general, but specifically this idea of replaying conversations in your head before you actually say them. Y'all excuse me for a minute. I am so sorry. I'm going to have to put him in his crate. All right, please excuse me. I am working from my home office today, and so my pet wants to get into this wants to get into the conversation. So here we go. Please excuse me when it comes to Jax. For those of you who are new here, I have a grand puppy. Jax is still a puppy. He's not even 2 years old. He'll be 2 years old in August. And so when I am working from home, he likes to be in my space, in my face. So let's go ahead and get back to what it is that we're talking about today. I want to talk specifically about overthinking conversations that you need to have with other people or maybe groups of people before the conversation even happens, right? Sometimes we've already defended ourselves, we've already explained ourselves. I think some of us cry ahead of time. We do all the things before the conversation even starts, and that's not healthy, right? It is emotionally weighty. And so today I just want to share a few things with you that I think will be helpful if you find yourself as one of those people who overthink your conversations before you actually get the conversation out of your mouth. Good morning, Deborah. I see you over here. Let me just say, I am still trying to work through this new setup for this particular platform, sis. It's weird seeing myself over there and seeing myself over here. It's weird. But I'm gonna master this. I'm gonna master this. Until then, y'all rock with me. If you see me looking all over the place, it's because I'm trying to see where I'm supposed to be looking. All right, so let's go ahead and get to it. Let me pull out my notes. Y'all already know I'm a notes person. So I sit down and think about the things that I want to share with you all before I get on this camera. The first thing that I want to share with you all today about the heaviness of communication is why it begins to be heavy for us. And one thing that I've noticed is that communication becomes emotionally heavy when conversations start feeling like they're really emotionally risky. If we do not feel safe in a space, if we don't feel safe with the person that we're talking to, if you find yourself in front of a group of people and you've got to share some vulnerable things about yourself, if that conversation starts to feel like you are having to be really vulnerable, you're having to expend a lot more emotional energy than you had planned or that you want, then more than likely you're going to try to think it over in your head a lot more before you actually say it. But that is not always a healthy thing. It's one thing to think about what you want to say, gather your thoughts, and then say it. It's another thing when you're rehearsing that conversation over in your head on Monday, on Tuesday, on Wednesday, right? And you don't even see the person until Sunday, and you've been trying to figure out what you're going to say, how you're going to move, what your body language is going to do. You might even think about what you're going to wear, while you're meeting this person. All of that happens when you think that the conversation is going to be risky for you emotionally. Does anybody understand what I'm talking about? Has anybody ever felt this? Deborah says, I know what you mean. Oh, she's talking about the platform. Yes. You try not to look at it? Yes, I'm definitely trying not to look at it, sis. I'm definitely trying not to look at it. I know. And so one of the things that happens whenever we have to have these conversations that can be very difficult, sometimes we don't even get to the conversation, right? Sometimes the communication just stops because it's just too heavy for us emotionally to have with that particular person. And we know that's not okay, right? Yes, because if there's something that you need to say, then you need to be able to say it, and you actually need to get it out your mouth. Speak up, sis or bruh, right? If there are men watching this space today. So not having the conversation is just not an option when it is something that must be said. If you grew up feeling like speaking your mind was going to bring about tension or conflict in some type of way, then you may be one of these people who replay and rehearse the conversation that you're going to have before you have it, so that you can make sure that you have all the caveats and all the disclaimers and I want to say this, but, and I hope you don't feel like this, and all the no, we want to stop doing that. We want to absolutely stop doing that. So what are some signs that you are carrying conversations mentally? What are some signs that you are carrying your conversations mentally before you actually get them out of your mouth? You may be carrying these conversations mentally if you replay the conversations repeatedly, if you are over-explaining yourself. I know that is a huge issue. I remember as a classroom teacher teaching my students, even when it wasn't a conversation that was heavy or emotionally weighty, if they had to share a project, if they were going to get up and recite a poem or talk to the class about something, even that may not be a difficult conversation to have as if it's confrontational, but that is still difficult for some people if they're not accustomed to standing up in front of groups. And excuse me, can y'all hear me? My mic was over there. I hope you all can, I hope you all can hear me a little bit better now that I have this mic in front of me. Oh my goodness. This is why I like to work from my office and not my home desk, because I'm just all out of sorts here. But that's what's up. So one of the things my students used to do before they would get up and do any type of presentation, they would start explaining, I'm not really good at this. This is not really my forte. This is not something I'm used to do. They give you all these explanations before they open their mouth and say what they need to say. This is a sign. This is one of those signs that if you want to know whether or not you carry your conversations mentally, if you over explain when you do start talking, more than likely you've already been rehearsing that conversation long before the conversation started. If you're someone who rewrites your text messages 5, 6, 7, 8 times before you press send, you're definitely someone who is rehearsing conversations, because remember, writing is the written word. So it's not just communicating. We don't just communicate orally, we communicate via writing as well. So texting, writing emails, even writing social media posts. If you're someone who types it out and you delete it, type it out, delete it, type it out, delete it, then you see it, and then you may end up posting it, you may not. You're absolutely someone who is rehearsing your speech, your conversation, your communication, and that can be emotionally heavy. It's important for you, when you're ready to say something, that you just say it. When you know what you want to say, when you're confident in what you want to say, when you're confident that what you have to say is important, you're confident that what you have to say is valid, you're confident in what you have to say is an asset and not a liability, then you will just say what you need to say. Hello, hello, hello. How you doing, my imperfect options? Happy Wednesday to you as well. Thank you for popping in today. I told you all I'm trying to get y'all in and out within a 30-minute span. So I'm trying not to over talk you all. You listen, we're not doing that. So we're going to come in on time and we're going to get out on time. How about that? Today, for those of you who are just coming in, we are talking about emotionally weighty conversations that you rehearse in your head before you actually say what you need to say. And I'm just sharing a little bit of information that could potentially help you to stop doing that. Oh, you're on the road? Be safe. Be safe, be safe, be safe. If you're someone who becomes really anxious before you have to have a conversation, if you're someone who becomes very anxious before you actually get up and do a presentation, do a talk, even if it's not something on a big stage, you may be someone who, let's say you're a school teacher or a counselor or even an administrator, and you got to stand in front of the staff, the faculty and staff, and you got to share information or you got to give some feedback. If it makes you really nervous, you spend all night long going over your head what you're going to say. And listen, there's a difference between knowing what you want to say, being competent in what you're saying, so you do your research and you make sure that you know what you're going to say. That's different. It's different than having to go over and over and over and over what you're going to say before you actually say it. So I don't want anyone to think that doing your research and being confident and sure prior to getting up in front of people is a bad thing. That's not. But this is an extreme that I'm talking about here. And if you do it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If there's anyone watching this, whether you're watching live or whether you're watching on the replay, who deals with this overthinking and you know exactly what I'm talking about, let us know in the chat. Let us know in the chat. And this is a big one. I don't know if many people would consider this a part of being an overthinker, but if you're someone who doesn't typically speak and have the conversations until you're ready to explode. You're absolutely someone who is dealing with and carrying their conversations mentally. And I know that's a lot of people, because I have seen people every time that it's like, why are you always exploding? Why are you always mad? Why are you always like this? And more than likely, it's because they've been carrying the conversation in their head for so long that by the time they get it out, it's like, right? What do they say? Pressure bursts pipes. The longer you hold on to it, the longer you roll it over in your mind. By the time it comes out, it's really forceful. And then now you're on the I'm sorry train. I didn't mean it that way. Right? And so you're trying to compensate for exploding, or you get to a place where you just say, I don't care. I'm gonna say what I gotta say. I don't care. I don't care about your feelings. I don't care about my presentation. I don't care about anything. And that is not a healthy way to communicate. You will lose a job like that. You will lose relationships like that. And some of you may say, I don't care, but you absolutely care, because you wouldn't be rehearsing it in your mind over and over and over if you didn't care. I see my perfect option says I'm guilty. And the truth is, I believe we are all guilty of that. We are all guilty. If we're honest with ourselves, we have all been guilty of that. I have said this before and I'll say it again. Keeping your silence is not always keeping the peace. A lot of times we'll say, I know what I have to say is going to cause some disruption. I don't want to be confrontational. So I'm just going to be quiet. I'm just going to be silent. But silence does not always equate peace. Oftentimes people who are carrying the emotional weight of their conversations and communication in their mind, the other person may be at peace because they don't know what's going on, but you have chaos going on the inside of you. And I have said this before, holding your peace like this, when you really need to just say what you need to say, it actually causes physical issues. A lot of people are dealing with health issues because they just won't open their mouths and say what needs to be said. And what will happen oftentimes is that you'll just be exhausted. Why? Because you're carrying the mental strain of the conversation here. Don't carry the weight of a two-person conversation. Do not carry the weight of a two-person conversation. Baby, if I'm going to be stressed about this, you're going to be stressed about it too. We both going to carry the weight of the heaviness of this conversation. I'm not going to carry it on my own. I see you, Deb. Deb says, yes, it does. It's just too heavy. It's just too heavy. So don't do it on your own. Don't do it on your own. So here we go. Let me see. Oh, I'm doing good time. I'm only at 18 minutes. We're going to get out of here on time today. I'm going to go ahead and stick to these notes. So let me go ahead and give you all 3 things that may help you communicate a little better and that will feel a little less mentally exhausting. All right. So number 1, stop trying to prepare for every possible reaction. If they're going to get mad, they're going to get mad. So what? If they're going to cry, they're going to cry. So what? My question to you is this. Does that person's reaction, whatever it is, change the truth about what you have to say? I think that's a question you may want to ask yourself. Because here's the thing. If someone being upset with you, if someone being sad about what you have to say, whatever the reaction is, if what their reaction is determines whether or not what you say is valid or not, I think you probably need to reevaluate what you want to say. Does that make sense to you? Because a person's reaction to the truth shouldn't matter. The truth is the truth. If you did something to me and I need to tell you about it, baby, you could get mad, you could cry, you could get angry, you could laugh. It doesn't matter what your reaction is. You still gonna get this truth. Your reaction does not change the validity of what I have to say to you. Therefore, it should not matter how they react. Shouldn't matter how they react. Now, let me caveat this and say, if you've got to have a conversation, a one-on-one conversation with someone, and you know that what you're going to say is, like, let's say you know the person well, and for example, if you are in a romantic relationship with someone, you're a woman, you want to say something to a man, you know that this is a hostile man, you know that he can be violent, you know that, he can just kind of go someplace he doesn't need to go. So then the reaction matters in terms of your safety. So I'm not telling you to not think about your safety if it's something that's going to cause someone to be angry or something of that nature. So in that way, it's not about rehearsing the conversation in your head. It's just about making sure that you're in a safe place when you have the conversation, making sure that you're not alone. Maybe you want to be in a public place. Maybe you want to take someone with you, right? So that type of thing. I'm not talking about preparing for the conversation to make sure that you are safe if it is a difficult conversation in that way. I'm talking about you going over and over and over what you want to say, how you want to say it, should you say it, right? You cannot control other people's emotions. So don't sit around and hold on to the conversation trying to think of what you will say based on how people are going to react to whatever it is that you have to say. Another, I'm gonna just say this because I know my face speaks volumes for me. You can't even be concerned about people's facial expressions. I wonder what she gonna say. I wonder what she gonna look like. I wonder how she gonna listen. Just say what you need to say. Say what you need to say. You have no control over it. None. Number 2, know the main thing that you actually need to say. Oftentimes we spend a whole lot of time thinking over the conversations in our head because there are so many symptoms. I say focus on whatever the main issue is, not all the symptoms of the issue. Whatever the main point is, if I need to sit down and have a conversation with you, then I need to know exactly what I want to say to you. What is my main point, my main idea? I want to sit down and talk to you because you never listen to me. I'm not going to give all these examples. I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole. I'm not doing all of that. You need to know what the main point is. It helps you to stay focused. It helps you to be clear in your communication. And then it gives that person a clear idea of exactly what it is that you're talking about, and it gives them an opportunity to be able to enter into the conversation and y'all talk about what the main thing is and not all this extra stuff. Again, I believe I said this before. A lot of times we as women, we want to talk, we don't want to keep the main thing. We bring in all the minor league things and all the stuff that happened a year ago, 2 years ago, 2 months ago. No, what do we want to talk about right now? The main thing. When you get that down, it makes communication so much more clear. So much more clear. What actually needs to be communicated? Do you want a divorce? Do you want out of the relationship? Do you need more intimacy? Has this person not been a good friend and you don't want to be friends anymore? Do you want this roommate to move out? Sir, I need a raise. I don't want to teach English anymore. My degree is in social studies. I'm tired of teaching English, and I would like to know if I can have an English class next year. Whatever. I mean, the conversation could be about so many different things. I remember when I was 6 years old, this thing happened to me. This person did it to me. You said absolutely nothing, and I want to talk about that today. I want to know why you didn't say anything. These are the hard conversations, right? These are the meaningful conversations. And you need to know what is the main thing that you want to say and then say it. No, I don't. I don't, my perfect options. I do not have a poker face. I do not have a poker face. I absolutely do not. I absolutely do not. And then the last thing that I want to share with you all today, you need to be emotionally and mentally sure before you speak. You have to be confident in what you want to say. And let me say this. I believe this is difficult when you are having a conversation with someone who is, one, maybe a narcissist. It is very difficult to be emotionally sure and confident when you're talking to a narcissist. And just let me put a disclaimer here. I am not a therapist. I am not a psychologist. I am not an expert on narcissists or anything of that nature. I have basic information about narcissism, just like most people. However, what I do understand is that if you have been in a relationship with a narcissist, or if you are in a relationship with someone who even has narcissistic tendencies, let's say that, then having a conversation, especially hard conversations, where you have to be confident that you know what you know. It doesn't matter what they say. It doesn't matter what they look like. It doesn't matter how they try to rewrap that conversation around you. When you are sure that what you are saying is the truth, is real, is valid, then you don't have to rehearse that thing all the time, because you know it. You know, as believers, we say, no, you got to know that you know that you know. Well, when you are in a place where you've got to have a difficult conversation, you need to know that what you're talking about, you know what you're talking about. Nope, you're not about to sway me. We're not talking about all these other things. I know what I'm talking about. That's one thing that I have learned. I typically don't talk about things that I don't know. That's why I showed you I have notes. I actually sit down, I study things, I write things out, I listen, I read books, I do lots of things to ensure that I am confident about my competence. So when I open my mouth to talk about something, I'm sure about what I'm talking about. And therefore, I don't have to lose any sleep trying to figure out what I'm going to say to somebody, because I already know. I done studied this thing. I know what I'm talking about. I done looked it up. I done figured it out. No, you're not going to be able to sway me on this. And I think a lot of times people who spend a lot of time carrying the emotional weight of conversations in their head instead of just saying it is because they don't feel confident in their own voice. And they don't feel competent. We don't use that word a lot, but I believe a lot of people inwardly don't feel competent. I didn't say confident, competent. And competent means you know what you know. You know your stuff. I think silently, a lot of people don't feel sure of what they know. And I'm just going to give a sidebar here. Sidebar. This is not in my notes. How do you build competence? How do you build a confidence in your competence? You need to be well read, well studied. You need to have done the work on yourself. A lot of times when we're talking about personal conversations and personal communication, it's not about academic smarts. It's not about theoretical smarts. It's about knowing yourself. It's about being self-aware. You need to know how you present. You need to know how you think. You need to know what makes you feel good and what doesn't make you feel good. You need to know what your boundaries are and what they are. You need to know if you have boundaries or not. You need to know what type of personality you have. You need to know what your communication style is. Like, these are things you need to know about yourself, so that when you show up to talk about something, you can't be moved. Because I know me. And because I know me, I can just say what I need to say. It's just a little extra tip for you. Just a little extra tip. When you are emotionally grounded and sure of yourself, when you enter into a conversation, you can't be shaken easily. And that builds your confidence. Yay. So we're right at 31 minutes. I'm feeling really good about this. Do you all have any questions for me? Any comments? Put them in the chat. I'll take a look for a few seconds. If I don't see anything, we're just going to keep on moving. If you are watching this on the replay, feel free to hashtag replay. You can put your comments and things in the chat. If I see them later, I will definitely respond if it's something that I need to respond to. If you are watching this on the SpeakUpSis YouTube channel, please make sure that you subscribe and click the notification bell. If you are watching this on the Angel Right Facebook page, please make sure that you click follow. I do release shorts and short reels that give you different types of insight on communication. I am also a communication coach. I provide one-on-one communication coaching. I have a 6-week program. It's in person. I do have a space for 2 virtual clients if you are not local to Augusta. But if you are in the CSRA and you are looking for a communication coach that you can work one-on-one with in person, I have a 6-week program. This is not a coaching program that is designed for people who are getting on stages and you want to make $10,000 a stage or whatever. This is not that type of coaching. This is communication coaching to help you with everyday communication. This is going to help you professionally when you go to work. It's going to make you feel more confident when you stand up to speak in front of a group. If you've got to give presentations to your superiors or to co-workers, or if you have subordinates that you need to disseminate information to and you want to feel more confident and sure about your communication, I help you with that. If you're someone who's a little mousy, maybe you're a little passive in your communication, and you would like to be more confident, more sure of your voice, I help you with those types of things as well. If you're someone who maybe you use lots of filler words, you're just not really sure on what you're saying, you overthink when you're talking, I can help you with that as well. So this is communication coaching, a 6-week program, one-on-one. If you are interested in working with me, feel free to reach out. You can send an email to contact@speakupsis.com. Contact@speakupsis.com. Hold on a second. I'll put this in here for you all so you can see it. There you go. Contact@speakupsis.com is the email address. If you are interested in getting more information about one-on-one coaching with me, it's called Steady and Clear One-on-One Communication Coaching. Just send an email. Let me know that you're interested in getting more information. I'll send you information. And if you want to set up a 15-minute consultation with me so that I can hear a little bit more about what your needs are and see if we'll be a good fit, then that will be the next step. All right. And that's all I have for y'all today. I appreciate you for spending some time with me this afternoon. I will be back here next Wednesday for more communication insights that will help you. If there is a specific area of communication that you would like for me to share some information about, just send me a direct message in my inbox, or you can send an email to contact@speakupsis.com, and I will do some study and some research on whatever your question is, and I'll get back to you, and I'll do a communication insight on a Wednesday live. Y'all take care. Have an amazing day.